Hey y'all, Sarah Scraps and I are back with our Color First series where we start with the color and then let it dictate everything in our layouts. So today she sent me this picture of her nails and her dress and her purse, and we love the color scheme. So that's what we decided to go with. I'm going to stamp with Crackling Campfire, Picked Raspberry, and Abandoned Coral. And I'm going to throw some greens and blacks in there too. So I'm going to use this Ellie Studio label set. I'm going to stamp the labels in black. And then this poppy set is from Stamp Market. I'm going to use that. And I'm creating a mask here. So I'm stamping the flower onto a Post-it note. I'm doing both of the poppies that come in that stamp set. And then I'm going to fussy cut around the edges so that I can mask out that area when I'm stamping the labels, and then add in the flowers after the fact. And if you haven't done masking, that will make sense here in a minute. You'll see me do it. But I'm going to pull out my stamping platform and use that so I can get lots of nice crisp images, especially with the labels. They need to be stamped a few different times. So what I'm doing is I'm going to give myself lots of space here once I'm pulling them out, so that I can die cut around them, or I will actually fussy cut around them when I'm adding the flowers, because I can't really die cut the label and the flower together, since I'm kind of creating my own Franken-stamp. So I'm figuring out where I want the flower to be, and then I stick it on the paper, but then the stamps kind of pulled them up, so I kind of had to go back in there and stick the masks down to the paper again, because they were sticking to the stamp, which once there's ink on the stamp, that won't be a problem. So anyway, that's going to be the part masked out on those labels. I'm going to stamp them in black, and then I have my Stamping Bug, which was an enabled purchase by Sarah Scraps. She's the queen of enablers, right? But it's fabulous and I love it, and so I'm glad to have it. She only tells you to buy things that you truly need, really. So there you can see I take up the mask and it leaves a nice empty space that fits exactly the stamp. But I'm just making sure to lay down the stamp as soon as I pull the mask up, so I didn't get confused. Those two flowers are pretty similar, so I didn't want to get confused as to which goes which. So I think I'm stamping that one in Picked Raspberry and that one in Crackling Campfire. And I do it a couple of times, but I'm loving how that looks. I love like the flower coming out of the label, which in the end, I really could have just like stamped the flowers separate and die cut them and lay them on top of the labels, but that's just not what I had envisioned at first. I'm not really sure why, but anyway, it turns out really cool and I like it. So now I'm doing a bigger mask with this collab stamp between Altenew and Pink Fresh. I've had this one for a while, but it's cool because it's like the pretty flower, and then it has these really beautiful like swatches that you put inside to color it in. So you'll see those in a second, but right now I'm just creating the mask. I'm gonna fussy cut that. And I didn't use the die cut for it because I wanted it to be really close to the stamp. If I had used the die cut, it would have left a little edge around around it, more so than I wanted it to leave when I was stamping the flower. So I'm gonna do like a collage of these labels here, and then stick the flower in the middle of them. You'll be able to see what I mean in just a moment. So there's like the little grouping of labels all together. I'm going to stick the mask down on the paper, and then I decided there's something on the paper, so I'm going to turn it around. I have some Rogue ink and I didn't want that there. So now I'm just positioning the flower so you can see a little bit of all the label stamps, and then I'm going to ink them up in black and do the same technique you saw me do on the first set of labels. And that worked out really beautifully. This is a super fun series that Sarah and I do. And so the color scheme that she picked made me go through my photos from our recent trip. And I picked this photo of my husband. I would say his shirt matches the photo scheme, but also his face does because he got sunburned that day. But I started our album already. It's an 8x8 album. I did a little poll on Instagram, and that's the one that won, which I was a little surprised, but it actually was kind of the one I was leaning towards anyway. So I'm going to create this layout in an 8x8 page. So the photo is printed in 3x4. I find it hard sometimes to do 8x8 because less is more, and I'm not a less is more kind of girl. So I lined up the floral and I'm stamping it, I think in Crackling Campfire for the outline. And I just love how it nestles so nicely amongst the labels without overlapping or having any of the label lines in the floral. So then I'm filling in the color with the picked raspberry and the abandoned coral. The leaves there go abandoned coral. And it's just a really subtle convergence of those colors with the flower stamp. And again, I'll fussy cut that as it cannot be die cut. Now I'm pulling this leaf stamps off of the poppy set from Stamp Market, and it's got a gorgeous like background and then a really beautiful like detail. So I'm going to stamp the background in Melon Ice from Catherine Pooler, and then I'm going to go in on top with Lime Ricky to do the detail. But I do just want to do one stamp of the Lime Ricky because it's a little stark or bright, and so I don't want it to overpower all the main colors of my layout. The leaves are just going to be in the background. In her original picture there was some leaves on the flowers on her dress, and so that's kind of why I added this in. And I am glad I did. I love a good pop of lime green, to be honest with you. Green is my favorite color, and I tend to gravitate towards lime green a little bit more than I would expect. I also went through and just added in a few more leaves of the smaller leaf, as well as I stamped a few more of the poppies to just die cut on their own and have as die cut ephemera to sprinkle around the page if I need it. Like I said, I haven't worked in 8x8 in a while, and less is more sometimes, and so it's better to have more than to have to get all this stuff back out and have not enough and have to re-stamp some stuff. So that's what I'm doing here, just adding a few more floral stamps in there. So I have die cut everything and or fussy cut everything, and I'm loving the way it looks. I love that collage. I have this little grid paper. I'm going to rough up the edges, and then I'm going to ink it up. I think I used abandoned coral. I might have used Crackling Campfire, I'm not sure. And I'm going to stick it down to this background paper, so there's just like a tiny little black border that peeks out around all the edges of this paper. Again, it is an 8x8 size. I just cut it down on my paper trimmer, and I'll link it down below if you want. I'll also link it down below with my affiliate links, like a cherry on top, and other stores that I have affiliate links with if you would like to go shopping. I got most of these, not the labels, but the flowers. Well, not the Stamp Market either, but also do and Pink Fresh stamp I got there, and you can find all kinds of floral stamps there in a cherry on top. The inventory changes all the time. They get all the new things, so that's really nice. So I'm just kind of playing around with how I want everything to look on the page, and I'm really happy with how the photo kind of nestles into that corner of the collage label and flower stamped image. So I'm just going to play around with it for a minute. I'm going to use that Flawless sticker there on that, I think it's Kate and Ash sticker sheet by Simple Stories. And that's going to be our title, because we were looking flawless, going to our favorite restaurant in Florida. So, and obviously I took pictures of the food. I will do like a little pocket page that is on the other side of this layout to show all the other pictures that I took that night. I mean, I don't always take pictures of the food, but I did this night because, again, it's like one of our favorite places. We go to this Italian restaurant. It's called Mimos. If you're ever in the Destin area, we highly recommend it. Mimmos, or maybe apostrophe S, but very delicious, very authentic. I guess authentic. I don't know. I've never been to Italy. So I'm loving how this looks. I like adding in that little label kind of overlapping the other one. So now you can see what I mean when I say I probably could have just done black labels and then added the flower die cuts over the top. But hey, you live, you learn. And I showed you the masking technique. I did the masking technique, you know, flexing those skills. But I also love how I'm layering up that label there. I am going to stamp a little bit of something onto it. I thought about using it as a journaling block, but I figured I would put the journaling in the pockets. That's what I typically do when I have kind of a hybrid layout like that. So make sure to check out Sarah's video. I'm going to link down below to Sarah's video. And yeah, it's so fun sometimes just to start with your color first and let it dictate, you know, what supplies you use and what photo you use. And she also did beautiful stamping. Her floral stamping is gorgeous. You wouldn't even know that it was floral stamping if you didn't know, because it looks like printed die cuts. They're so gorgeous. She has a new stamp set that she's using, so definitely check that out. Her link is down below. So we're almost done here. I'm just going to add another little photo. I was trying to see if I needed to add more, but again, less is more, and here I am trying to contain myself. So I just added a little sticker down there, and then I'm going to go in and add a little stamp in that. Oh yeah, there's a little heart tag that is coral as well. And then I'm going to stamp in that empty label there on the left, and we'll be done. Thanks y'all for watching. I would love it if you'd like and subscribe. Y'all, I'm so close. I know I've been saying it for a really long time, but I'm so close to the 1,000 subscriber milestone. So if you help me get there, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Check out the links down below. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.